Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Breakin Babylon. I'm your host, Elder Asiy'el bin Israel. Shalom, shalom. Hope you brothers and sisters are having a good evening. All right, y'all come on in here. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. I want to make sure y'all can hear and see me clearly before we get started. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and give you some, excuse the internet. We might have that choppiness issue again, but nonetheless, we're going to get the word out regardless, okay? So, come on in. Make sure you brothers and sisters come on in tonight. Like, share it. If you're on Facebook, come over to this new channel, Breaking Babylon with Elder Asiy'el. Subscribe to the channel, right? So when we go live, you can also participate over here too. So I'll be monitoring the YouTube channel more than I do Facebook. So come on over here so you can participate. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, all right? Share it on your Facebook, all right? So come on in. Y'all see the title, brothers and sisters. Y'all see the title. What we're going to be dealing with today is dealing with anti-Semitism, DeSean Jackson, Nick Cannon, and our sister Tamar Braxton, okay? So we're going to be, that's why I said this channel will be dedicated to current events as what's going on. And also we'll be putting on a biblical twist to it too, showing you how these things relate to the Bible, right? So the majority of y'all, of course, y'all have been seeing what's going on, especially if you follow social media. You see the rise of what they call anti-Semitism, right? And the Jewish people are everywhere now. Anytime you speak against the Jewish people, anytime you voice your own opinion, you're labeled, especially against them, an anti-Semite, right? They accuse you of anti-Semitism. So what we're going to do today is kind of hit that a little bit. We're going to go over some things I'm pretty sure most of you already know. Y'all know what DeSean Jackson said. Y'all know the issue that's going on with Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon did an interview, I believe yesterday or the day before, with a rabbi, right? He went in, spoke with a rabbi, and this is part of his healing, this is part of his healing phase, right? So, of course, with the Jewish people, a simple apology is not enough for them. They want you to get down, lick the floor they walk on, right? And not only that, Nick Cannon now has to go to a Jewish museum and learn about Jewish history. Now, when someone says something against black people or Hispanic people or any type of derogatory term dealing with minority people, no one has to have to go through any of these extremes to prove themselves or to show that they're sorry. They just simply say, I'm sorry for calling this person a nigger. And that's it. And they get money. They get $25 million contracts. They get a new episode on TV and all those things. For example, I remember years ago you had Dog the Bounty Hunter. They had a phone call of him calling black people the N-word. Right? They counseled him for maybe a year, maybe 6 months. I can't remember. They counseled him for some time. Then he was right back. So, brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to show you is no one, when the attack is against black people, Hispanic people, it does not come to the phase is how it is now. It doesn't get the same attention when you speak against the Jewish people, right? And not even speak against the Jewish people, because 9 times out of 10, people don't say anything that's bad against the Jewish people. We just don't agree with them. So anytime you don't agree with the Jewish people, then you're labeled an anti-Semite. Or you anti-Semitic. So what we're saying is black and Hispanic people, or as you would say minority people, is let us receive the same justice that you give to the Jewish people. When something goes wrong with the Jewish people, we want to receive that same notoriety. We want to receive that same press conference coverage. We want to receive that same sympathy, right? You notice we're in the middle of a pandemic of COVID-19, and as soon as DeSean Jackson and Nick Cannon came out with what they call anti-Semitic comments, what happened to COVID? What happened to this big pandemic that we're going through? Headline news has been Nick Cannon, DeSean Jackson, and anti-Semitism. Right? This is what the headlines are nowadays. So now, brothers and sisters, like I said, before we get started, like the video, share the video. If you're on Facebook, come over to Breakin Babylon with Elder Asiy'el. You can just type in Breakin Babylon in the YouTube search. You'll see that we're live now. Subscribe to the channel. Okay. So what I want to do is we're gonna go back over everything that's happened in the past couple weeks, right? I did this in another video, I think on our Sabbath lesson. Also, make sure you subscribe to our church channel, Israelite Temple LG, or Israelite Temple of the Living God. Type that in YouTube. You'll find us on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. We also have a backup channel. So if you find that channel, subscribe to that channel too. All right. But I covered this in a lesson. I want to say about the curse of a lesson we did over the curse of Ham. And I showed you DeSean Jackson's quotes, right? And what I'm going to do today is do that same thing. We're going to go over it again. We're going to see his quotes, and it's going to lead up to some information I'm going to show you, okay? And like I said, I don't see anything. And before we get started, we have to put this thing out here. In no way are we in support of any harm done to any group. We don't support violence, oppression. We don't condone any of those things. We're against any group, black, white, orange, green, that has any oppression, any mistreatment, any issues coming to them that is unrighteous. We are against all those things. The Bible tells you to seek justice, right? And this is what we do for all people. So the God is the God of the Israelites, but at the same time, he's a God of justice to all people. He created all people, right? So we are to seek justice, right? And the only thing we're asking is the same type of justice the Jewish people get in the other nation. Let that same justice be given to the minority, who you call the minorities, Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people. That's all we're asking. But we know, living in America, that won't happen. I mean, we've been here long enough to know that we will not receive the same justice as the Jewish community, right? So before we get started, we have to put that out there, that we are in no way condoning Hitler. We're not in support of Hitler and his actions. We don't support anybody killing any group. If 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, we're definitely against that, right? But I do have an issue with this. When I read certain things, and I hear that 11 million people died in the Holocaust, 6 million were Jews, and the rest were others, I do have an issue. Who are those others? If we are to give recognition to the 6 million Jews that died during the Holocaust, then we ought to do to those others. Who are those others? That 5 million of those others. We need to know those others. It's not right for one group to receive recognition for the death that was given to them in the oppression under Hitler, but then name the other people others. So as a Jewish person, if you're Jewish, that's your responsibility to find out who those others are, who suffered with your brothers and sisters in the Holocaust. But you notice you don't hear anything about those other people that died with those 6 million Jews. I find kind of funny and weird. That's strange to me. Right? So we have to put that out there before we get started with this. We're not, we don't condone violence. All right. So we're not in support of Hitler. We're not in support of any group that promote violence. Okay. We have to put that out there, because they're as soon as you disagree with them, they'll throw you're anti-Semite, you're anti-Semitic, right? But before we get into it, let's put the definition of what it means to be anti-Semitic. Okay, so we can have it in our minds during this topic we're dealing with tonight. All right, let's see what this means. All right, so now, like we do with all things, we're going to put it on the screen. All right, and I hope you brothers and sisters can see it. I can make it bigger for you. Let me make it bigger so we can read that. Okay, so now, anti-Semitism, right? We're in a Merriam-Webster, and it says hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religious group, ethnic or racial group, right? So let that sink in, ethnic, or racial group. But it's hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religious group. So according to the dictionary here, and it might change here and there depending on The Jewish people might have a totally different definition of what anti-Semitism is. But in a nutshell, this is what when they come out against people, they're accusing people of being hostile or discriminated against Jews. All right. So I wanted to put that out there. That's the definition of anti-Semitism. All right. So now, since we have a base or a foundation to build upon, let's go into some more. All right. So now, like we did last time, I'm going to pull up the article or the quote that our brother DeSean Jackson quoted from a book. Now, we don't know what book this comes from, and it comes from, and like I said, we're not saying it's true. We're not saying that this is from Hitler himself. We don't know, okay? I haven't found the source of this, right? But I want to show you where the issue comes in, brothers and sisters. That it's not necessarily it's a quote from Hitler. It's deeper and bigger than that. All right. So once again, let me go over. Now let's take a look at this, brothers and sisters, and follow with me. And we're gonna try to be as unbiased as possible dealing with this and read it. Now we understand as black people, Hispanic people, that Hitler, I mean, if we had any person that killed us in a fashion that Hitler killed the Jews, then yeah, any statement against any statement is supposed or allegedly made by Hitler or our oppressor, we would be kind of iffy about that. So we agree. How do we know that as black people? Because we have been oppressed as a people ourselves. So we know how it feels for our oppressor when he does certain things against us, how we feel and what memories that bring back. So we totally understand why the Jewish people might have an issue with a quote that says Hitler said. But let's stay within context, because this is where the Jewish people would like you to focus on, the Hitler thing, right? Now let's read this. It says here, Hitler said because the white Jews, this allegedly, we don't know if Hitler said this, and I quote, because the white Jews knows that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. Okay? So I want to continue and to read the rest of this thing. It says here, when I quote, they will fear God will fear God will destroy them as he destroyed Egypt for doing the same thing. So the elite, the Illuminati, keeps this a secret at all costs. Now, of course, when the Jewish people heard this, they, immediately say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, like they do with everything. Anytime you come against the Jewish people, like we're going to learn today, anytime you come and say, well, the Jewish people own half the NBA. Oh, that's a conspiracy. That's an anti-Semitic statement. Oh, you stereotyping Jewish people. Or now you're anti-Semitic. See? But then when we go and show you that it's true that they own half the NBA, is it then still a conspiracy theory? Think about that. Because when is a conspiracy? When is a conspiracy theory true? Is it not true when you find evidence that support the so-called theory? Right? Right? So if I have a theory about something and then I find evidence, it's no longer a theory. It's the truth. It's a fact now. Right? So anytime you say something about Jews owning banks or owning Hollywood or running Hollywood or owning majority of the NBA basketball teams, you're quickly labeled as an anti-Semite. But then not knowing that you can actually prove what you're saying. Right? But let's stay on top of this. Now, the reason our brother DeSean Jackson was in so much trouble is really not the fact that this quote is from Hitler, because even the Jewish people know that Probably 9 times out of 10, Hitler didn't say this. The issue is, it says black people are the children of Israel. This is the issue. The issue has less to do with it's Hitler said, but more to do with this quote claiming black people to be the children of Israel. See? This is what it has to do with. So now, to bring it all home together, so if this quote was put out by any Joe on Facebook, it would have received no recognition, no attention, nothing. But since it came from a big platform as DeSean Jackson's platform, now it has to be debunked. Why? Because it's so much truth in the statement, not saying the Hitler thing, but the fact that it says that black people are the children of Israel, that it will begin to wake people up. It will begin to use people, or it would start people to start doing what? Researching and trying to find out if it's true. Guess what that does? Like we said last week or a couple weeks ago, then that leads brothers and sisters to learning information out and seeing, well, wait a minute, we've been lied to in the church this whole time. What we've been learning must have been a lie. We know the Bible says your father has inherited lies. So just like their fathers, the Jewish people fathers have inherited lies, our fathers have inherited lies. What lie was that? That we African, that we were swinging in trees, that we didn't have no history. And likewise, the Jewish people have received the same history, that they are the chosen people of God, that God chose them over all people, and so forth and so on. So both sides have inherited lies, right? So now, if we are to do the honest thing, brothers and sisters, if we are to do the honest thing, to be honest here, the conversation that needs to be had is, who is who, right? The conversation that needs to be had is, black people sit down with Jewish people and say, well, why do you claim to be Jewish? And they ask us the same question, well, why do you claim to be a Jew? And we put it out on the table, because what's happening now is anytime black people say that they're Jews, it automatically gets labeled anti-Semitic. Automatically, it gets shot down. You receive sarcastic remarks. So no one takes it serious. But no one has took the time to say, well, let me see why so many black people are now waking up to this identity. Why are they coming and saying that they are the children of Israel? No one in the Jewish community is trying to do that. Now, don't you find that kind of strange? But the minute you say that you're a Jew, now this quote is not, the quote we just read from the brother DeSean Jackson, it's not something he wrote. It's something that he highlighted, that he read and found it to be true, or believed it to be true. And the only thing he did was share it on Facebook with no intent of harming anything but uplifting black people, and now he have to apologize. See? But I showed you, brothers and sisters, go back to our last video Saturday that we brought out about the Jewish people owe us an apology. I showed you out of Jewish writings themselves being racist, right? They hate Gentile women. They molest babies. These are all in their holy books. I don't have to misquote them. I read exactly from the book that they claim is the most holiest book in Judaism. See, so we don't have to guess like we have to guess with this DeSean Jackson quote. We don't have to guess when we read the Talmud. It's right from the Jewish people. I read it right from one of their websites, right? Their quotes that they read from their most holiest book in Judaism. So I find it ironic that it's so much attention is being put on this quote, but no attention is being put on the racism that's in the Talmud directly from the Jewish people. Racism like how? About black people having cursed with black skin. That Ham was cursed to be a black man. Right? That black people are cursed with nappy hair, red eyes, swollen lips. Right? Elongated penises. These are things that this is in Jewish literature. This is not something that we're making up. This is in Jewish writings. So I don't see uproar should be for that. We should be that's blatant racism, right? Which caused the so-called African Americans in America to be enslaved and oppressed. This is what Europeans use to enslave black people. So these quotes, this mindset, this theology really has destroyed a people. And it's caused all type of harm to that group, black people. Right? But I don't see the same attention being put on this issue than I see that a quote that DeSean Jackson quoted from who knows who. It's not his own quote. I just find it kind of funny. Right? So now let's keep moving. So after this, so follow me. We have a timeline. So after this, brothers and sisters, with anything when it happens, a simple apology is not really good enough for the Jewish people. Right? So I'm going to show you our brother DeSean Jackson. He apologized, right, to the Jewish community for what they consider anti-Semitism. Which, if you read the quote, I don't see how he said anything how he hated Jews. Remember the definition of being anti-Semitic. The definition is, let's look at it again, hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religious, ethnic, or racial group. Now, the quote that our brother quoted, how is that hostility? How is it discrimination? How is telling the truth discriminating against a group? How is it? Right? So now, let's go into it. I want to show you this, brothers and sisters. So after the brother made the statement, he apologized. Now, these are one of these apologies that you will have to ask yourself, what exactly am I apologizing for? Now, I understand, okay, the Hitler thing, but it's not my quote. Well, you quoted something that Hitler, and it brought back a lot of memories. Okay, well, if that's the case, then they should take down every book written about Hitler on Amazon. They should, if that's the case, Jewish people shouldn't quote or even mention Hitler if no one else can do it. See? So anytime someone else mentions Hitler, then it's automatically you're anti-Semitic. But they can mention Hitler and the Holocaust all day long with no issues. So if it's going to be that way where nobody else can mention Hitler, the Jewish people should not be able to mention Hitler, and they should remove every book mentioning Hitler from Amazon or any research or studying that you're doing in any university. See? So it has to be fair all the way around the board. It can't be one side. One group can only talk about Hitler, but no one else can. And DeSean Jackson, and I don't know this brother, but I'm sure he wouldn't in any way support anything Hitler did. He would just bring it out a point where it says Hitler said. See? Now let's go into this. All right, brothers and sisters, let's go into this. Let's go into the brother's apology, okay? Let me let this ad play, and then we're gonna go right into it, okay? Oh, here we go. So listen to this, brothers and sisters.
What's going on? I've been getting a lot of backlash and feedback from an Instagram post that I put on my Instagram story. I just want to, first off, extend an apology on the behalf of me and what I stand for, because I'm one that's fair, and I never want to put any race down or any people down. And my post was definitely not intended for anybody of any race to feel any type of way, especially the Jewish community. When I posted what I posted, I definitely didn't mean it to the extent that you guys took it. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm, very apologetic. And I just want you guys to understand that it never was intended to be to put any race down or any religion down. You know, I post things on my story all the time, and I just probably shouldn't have never posted anything that Hitler did, because Hitler was a bad person, and I know that. And I was just trying to uplift, African Americans and slavery, and just enlighten my people. So on behalf of myself, I just want to let you guys know I apologize. I didn't intend, any harm or any hatred towards any people. I'm for one. I'm for love, and I extend it every day. People that know me know I have no hatred in my heart, and I never try to, put another religion down to uplift my religion or my race. So, from the bottom of my heart, I just want you guys to understand that, and it's coming from me and my feelings, and I just hopefully everybody respects my platform, my opinion, to try to just enlighten my people, and just let everybody know that there's no hatred involved. So I hope you guys understand that and realize.
So okay, so y'all heard it from the brother, his apology. So, like I said, if you look at the apology, to me personally, it looks like he really don't know what he's apologizing for. To me, it looks like if somebody coerced him to apologize, meaning his football career. The owner of the Eagles is Jewish. So to me, it seemed like it was something that was maybe his people around him. Hey man, you just need to say you're sorry. He looked like he don't know what he's apologizing for. Because I personally believe that he didn't put something out there to down one group. He was putting information out, just like anytime you hear and you learn the truth. You put anything you see that support that you're the truth, you put it out there. And I believe that's what this brother was doing. But of course, he's not understanding that his platform is so large, he has so big of an influence that it causes the powers that be to recognize it. Remember, they have a certain thing to where they go to certain people and say, well, they have what handlers. And I can put it like that. They have handlers to tell them, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. But guess who hires these handlers? The powers that be, the people that's over the money. They say, hey man, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do this. Right? And now this is what the brother is suffering, because he wanted to help his people, show information that will uplift his people, show them why they're going through the issues they're going through, and he has to apologize. If you look at this brother, body language says a lot. He really don't know what he's apologizing for, because his intent was not to harm any other group. But you can't put out information on the platform that he has and it not go unnoticed. Right? You have millions of followers and you put out information and most of these are black and Hispanic men that like football, and you putting out information saying that they're the Jews. See? That's troubling. That's troublesome. That's troublesome to the powers that be. Right. Suda said it perfectly. He said, I said what I said, but indirectly, he still said he was just trying to enlighten his people. True. Because his whole post was not to discriminate against the Jewish people, not to do anything. It was to uplift his own people. Now you see, brothers and sisters, anytime you try to uplift your own people, other groups have a problem with that. Remember, this has always been the history in America. Anytime a person came to uplift their people, look what happened to them. MLK, look what happened to him. Regardless of how you feel about Martin Luther King, or he was an agent, he was sent by, whatever it may be, the whole fact that anytime a brother or a sister would come and fight on the behalf of black people, it was always demonized. It was always looked down on, and it was always looked at as it was a motive, or we were trying to start a revolution, right? It was always looked that way. So anytime somebody come on our behalf, it's always looked down upon. But guess what that is, brothers and sisters? A guilty conscience from your oppressor. He knows that if you receive the information about him, you will no longer be under him. You will remove the chains, right? The chain that's on the mind. and you'll start thinking for yourself. And the minute you start thinking for yourself, then you'll start seeing the plot and the plan against you. Right? This is what they fear, brothers and sisters. This is what they fear. They fear black men. Now, remember, like that woman said about LeBron, he told him to shut up and dribble. This is what they want us to do. Shut up and play sports. They want DeSean Jackson to shut up and catch footballs. They don't want him to use his platform for good. See? So anytime in the past you saw anyone coming from on the behalf of black people, it was always demonized. It was always looked down upon. See? It was always now all of a sudden this brother and we're gonna see later in another interview how pretty much Max Kellerman said this brother pretty much he wasn't smart. That he wasn't smart enough, so he was misinformed. Meaning like our people don't have the mindset of doing research, or we're not smart enough to vet our research or peer review our research or understand sources, and that's what they think. But they don't understand that the very sources they're misinformed because they don't understand the very sources that we use to prove that we Israelites is from their own people. It's from their own people. We're not using black sources to prove that we the Israelites. We're using Jewish sources. We're using Jewish people to debunk Jewish people. So how can we be anti-Semitic? I'll wait. See? So, recap. So this brother had to apologize, right? So now, let's keep moving. He had to apologize. Of course, he was about to, anytime you speak it, now the Jewish people say it's a stereo, when you stereotype them, when you say that they have the power or the Jewish people run the world, and they'll say you anti-Semitic. That's a stereotype placed upon the Jewish people. But look at what happened. Some things we can prove by just living. You can see it. This brother, listen, this wasn't even he never said he hated Jews. He never said he was in support of Hitler. He shared a quote that said black people are the Israelites, and he almost lost his football career. But the Jewish people don't own, the Jewish people are not the powers that be. The Jewish people don't run the world. Come on, brothers and sisters. So they hide. What they do is they don't want to take hold to who they truly are because they like to be victimized. They like to stay within that thing to where they can always remain the victim. To me, they can always use, as soon as you say something, Hitler, Holocaust. And you're going to see that now. Even though they run the world, they don't want you to know that. So when you put that on them, they say you anti-Semitic. That you stereotyping them. That's a stereotype of the Jewish people. Therefore, you anti-Semitic. But then you do the research, you'll find exactly what they say as a stereotype, exactly what they really are. Right? Like, for example, the learned elders of the protocols of Zion. Right? Let me look this title up. They'll say, well, no, that book was written by some Russians that hated Jews, that was anti-Semitic. Right? Hold on, I'm gonna put this up real quick. So this book I read, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. That was a book I read this years ago, right? And I want to show you, brothers and sisters, something here. So what the Jewish people have done, so for example, if you go to the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL website, they show you it's a hoax of hate, right? I want to show you this on the screen, brothers and sisters, because I find it strange that the Jewish people will say this is anti-Semitic or anti-Semitism, right? The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion is a classic and paranoid racist literature taken by the gullible. See, now they talking about us, that we'll take this and say, look, this is written by, these are the Jewish people, a plot of world domination, because that's what that book goes into. Now, say for example, that the Jewish people did not write this book. Say the Jewish people didn't write the book. Say they didn't write it. It wasn't a bunch of Jewish rabbis who wrote the book, because that's what the history is, that a bunch of Jewish rabbis wrote this book detailing their efforts of world domination. Okay, say Jewish people didn't write it. Say some Russian that was against Jewish people wrote it. Either he's a prophet or he was a Jew. Either he was a prophet of God or it was a Jew that wrote that, a Jewish person. Because in this book, it details the exact thing that you see today with the Jewish people. Now, I'm not saying use it as a source, but I do find certain things quite strange that you read a book, then you look at a certain people, and then they say, oh, no, that's anti-Semitic writing, but then they fall right into the category of the writing. That it says that they own the banks. Well, then we can prove that Jewish people own a percentage of the banks. That they world domination, that this anti-Semitic thing, that all these, the Holocaust, and we will use this for that. And in that book, it goes into detail everything that you see the Jewish people doing. I find that strange if it didn't come from Jewish people. So whoever wrote it was a prophet. That's what we have to say, right? But I don't want to get caught up on that. Let's keep going. Right? So now, let's go into this. Let's go into YouTube. Right? Let's go into YouTube, and I want to show you. We spoke on this a couple of weeks ago when with the brothers in our church in San Antonio brought out this about anti-Semitism, right? They dealt with this, but I want to go to I want to go into it with you, brothers and sisters, tonight, okay? Right, so listen to this.
Statement on Jackson, which read in part, regardless of his intentions, the messages he shared were offensive. The Eagles released this statement on Jackson, which read in part, regardless of his intentions, the messages he shared were offensive, harmful, and absolutely appalling. They have no place in our society and are not condoned or supported in any way by the organization. We are disappointed, and we reiterated to DeSean the importance of not only apologizing, but also using his platform to take action to promote unity, equality, and respect. We are continuing to evaluate the circumstances and will take appropriate action.
All right, so just with that little bit, listen, this is the Eagles statement dealing with DeSean Jackson. Now, they said, let me go back because I want to read it myself. I want to kind of show you some things that you might not pay attention to, brothers and sisters. It says, regardless of his intentions. Now, stop with right there. So, in other words, we don't care why he posted it. The message he shared was offensive. What was offensive about that? We're going to get into it because he says the Jews try to hide that we are the children of Israel. Is that not true? If I take your identity, what am I going to come up to you and tell you, hey, you're the Jew? No, I'm going to do everything I can to hide it from you because I don't want you to know I took your identity. When people steal your identity, what's called identity theft, they don't go to you and tell you I stole your identity. What do they try to do? They try to become exactly like you are. And they hide themselves so they won't be caught and jailed. That's what Jewish people are doing. They took an identity from a people, claiming to be Jews, then said we were the cursed seed of Ham, and only relegated to perpetual servitude. This is what the Jewish people did. Then they wrote a book in the Talmud says that black people are cursed with black skin. Is that not identity theft? Let me take your identity, say you're somebody totally different, then say you're cursed with black skin, and meanwhile, I'll take your place. Regardless of his intention, the message he shared was offensive, harmful, and absolutely appalling. Which part was appalling? That black are the Jews? They have no place in our society and are not condoned or supported in any way by the organization. I'm sure you don't. Y'all don't support that black people are the Jews because your owner, who's a Jewish person, is taking claim to our identity. Of course not. Right? We are disappointed, and we reiterated to DeSean the importance of not only apologizing. So Drew Brees said something about he said it was disrespectful black players or people to kneel at the flag. Only thing he had to apologize and it was done. This brother already apologized. Listen what they're saying. We are disappointed. Well, DeSean Jackson, the importance of not only apologizing, but also using his platform to take action to promote unity, equality, and respect. Things that you would never get in America. See? Don't share that black people are the Jews. Share equality. But it's no equality when you open your eyes. It's no respect for a group when you open your eyes, because when something happened to black people, no one go this far to bring justice to black people. But when something happened to Jewish people, look what happens. So how can we even sit down at a table and talk about equality when we're not receiving the same thing? How can he use his platform for equality when he's not receiving the same amount of equality and recognition and you know, the same amount of coverage that when something happened to Jewish people they receive? How do we begin to sit down and talk about that? Right? When the Jewish people in America make up 1.4% of the population but have most of the money, how do we then begin to talk when black people make up 16% of the population and we on the bottom? How do we begin that conversation of equality and respect when, let me say it again, 1.4% of the Jewish 1.4% of the Jewish population own majority or have majority of the money in America? Let me let that sink in with y'all. Where is that conversation? When do we start that conversation? Because to be equal, it should be equal, right? You can't speak to me about equality and you a billionaire and you make up 1.4% of the Jewish population in America. You can't begin to speak to me about equality. That don't work. We are continuing to evaluate the circumstance and will take appropriate action. So apology is not good enough. They said they will continue to evaluate the circumstances. Now imagine if this brother says something personally against the Jews, what would happen? This brother shared a quote from a book. And look at the uproar. Imagine if he said something about Jewish people, what would happen to him? But black people get called the N-word all day long, disrespected from all groups. Sterling, the guy that owned the Clippers, called black people. He didn't want black people at it. He's a Jew also. He didn't want black people at his games. But got Negroes bouncing the ball up and down the court for him. See? They don't care about you. Only thing they care about is the bottom line. That's what they care about. Right? So let's continue with this. Keep in mind, brothers and sisters, the only thing this brother did was share a book, a 2 paragraphs from a book showing that black people were the Israelites and that America is trying to hide it, which is true. I mean, this is true. For example, when they gave you the image of white Jesus, is that not a lie? Is Jesus white? For them just to come back and tell you, scholars and theologians and PhDs in schools tell you, well, yeah, we know Jesus was not white. He was Middle Eastern. Well, is that not a lie? So if they hid white Jesus, you don't think they will hide that you black people are the Jews? Come on now.
Also using his platform to take action to promote unity, equality, and respect. We are continuing to evaluate the circumstances and will take appropriate action. Max, I want to start with you. What's your reaction to these comments by DeSean Jackson?
Sorry, did you ask me, Molly?
Yeah, you, Max, please.
First of all, I'm Jewish, so I'd like to accept DeSean Jackson's apology.
He's not. He's Jewish. Remember, he's not a real Jew. He's Jewish. This is Max Kellerman. If y'all don't know, the same guy that was trying to rap years ago. He got a music video. See, that's what I find strange. When we say we are Jews, it's an issue. But he can rap and go on all day long and no problem.
But I need to know more.
So he said he apologized. He accepted, but he needs to know more. He needs to know more. Know more what? See, a simple apology is not good enough for the Jewish people. Let's keep going.
Part of the quote, they will extort America. Their plan, meaning the Jews, for world domination won't work if the Negroes knew who they were. This is not about uplifting black people primarily. This is about, if you think about it, DeSean, why black people are in a bad position. Jews are being scapegoated. First of all, there's no truth in it. Jews do not have a plan for world domination. I have no plan for world domination, and there is no secret cabal with some plan for world domination. I don't even know what blackmail or extort America means in this context. I don't think you do either, and I don't think anyone does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. So now, remember I said we approve all things. So he said he don't know what. Let me bring this back because what we're going to do is answer, since Max Kellerman don't know how the Jews dominate the earth, we'll show you. If this is not proof enough that look what's going on, this brother shared a quote and look what's going on. This is not proof enough. I will show you. Since he said DeSean Jackson can't tell him what it means and nobody else can, we'll show you what we mean when we say Jews run the earth, world domination, and all that. We'll show you. So let me bring it back a little bit first so y'all can hear it again.
Secret cabal with some plan for world domination. I don't even know what blackmail or extort America means in this context. I don't think you do either, and I don't think anyone does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so now let's get it. So since he don't know what it means, what world domination and Jews run the earth and all that, we'll show you. I'll show you. Because he said nobody does. This is just a conspiracy that with brothers is grabbing out they behinds with no proof. We'll show you. So here we go, brothers and sisters. So when we say certain things, we can back it up, all right? So now let's go into the Forbes list. Shall we? Let's go into the Forbes list. Since Max Kellerman don't know and why this is, it's why this grand scheme against the Jews, and nobody can prove that. Okay. All right. Once again, look at your screen, brothers and sisters. We got Jay-Z. Everybody like, oh, we got Jay-Z. Brothers and sisters, let's read here. It says this. The very top says what? Jews dominate Forbes rich list. Remember, Max Kellerman said he don't know where this is coming from. Why people think Jews dominate the earth or run the earth, and he thinks this is just some conspiracy against the Jews. What it says, Jews dominate Forbes rich list. Now, look where it says at the bottom. Not the very bottom, but right there at the bottom of the magazine where it says number of Jews. Now, what this means is out of the top 100 people on the Forbes rich list, 30 of them are Jews. And you don't know why we say that, Mr. Max Kellerman? Read it again. The number of Jews in the top 100, 30. So out of the top 100 richest people in Forbes, 30 of them are Jews. So let me go back to Mr. Kellerman and let him ask his question again. Let him go back again. Let's go back.
Nation. I have no plan for world domination. In a bad position. Jews are being scapegoated. First of all, there's no truth in it. Jews do not have a plan for world domination. I have no plan for world domination, and there is no secret cabal with some plan for world domination. I don't even know what blackmail or extort America means in this context. I don't think you do either, and I don't think anyone does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, so now back to what we was reading. Jews dominate Forbes rich list. So when he says extort America, well, you got to look at it. Everywhere the Jews went in Europe, these are documented facts. They were banished or expelled from a bunch of European countries and cities. Why? Why? Extorting the people. Money, how they do the money lending practices. This is why they was expelled from the Jews, from all these nations, these European nations, banished, expelled for their shady business practices. When people say these things, they're not just saying it with no proof. We have proof. We have documents expelling the Jews from Spain, Italy. Should I continue? Let's see here. Let me read some things here. Let me read you something, brothers and sisters. We're not just saying certain things. So Max, he did a little chuckle, it's no thing, world domination. Even that little chuckle and laugh you should look at. That was kind of weird and strange, but whatever. We keep going. It says, listen to this. 1649, Oliver Cromwell obtains backing from the British Parliament for the execution of King Charles I on a charge of treason. Afterwards, Cromwell permits the Jews to enter England again, effectively reversing the Edict of Expulsion issued by King Edward I in 1290, which expelled all Jews forever from England and made the provision that any who remained after November 1st were to be executed. So, brothers and sisters, you see that why are these people wanting against the Jews so much? Not because they Jews, not because they God's chosen, so-called God's chosen people. The Jews were shady business people, like they are now. Like they are now. Read in the Talmud, it tells you how they do their lending practices. That if a Jew lend to a Gentile, he can charge him crazy interest. But when a Jew lend to another Jew, no interest. Now, how do we know that? That's what Torah says. See, but they practice that in a way that's extremely against Torah and that's unrighteous. Indeed, England is not the first country to expel Jews. Here is a partial list of all the areas from which the Jews have been banished from, sometimes on numerous occasions over the last 30 years. Or last 1,000 years, excuse me. Right? Mainz, France, Upper Bavaria, England, France, Hungary, Belgium, Slovakia, France, Australia, right? Netherlands, Portugal, Naples. See? Naples again, Italy, Naples again. Right? Just to name a few, it's a bunch of these, Lithuania. It's a bunch of places on here where the Jews were expelled. Why? See, it's things on the, man, it's more places on the back of this book where the Jews were expelled. See? So, I just wanted to show y'all that in this book, right? But it's in this book called The Synagogue of Satan, but you can find this on any information. You can find this, because people, that's a shady book. Oh, those people are anti-Semitic. So anytime you have a book or information against Jewish people, automatically the person is anti-Semitic. So if you write a book saying that the Jews, the white people, the Jewish people that claim they are not Jews, you're anti-Semitic. So you can't do that, right? So that's a book you can read in there. They'll show you why they were expelled from their shady business practices, the stuff they were doing, people killing people. So now we'll keep going since Max Kellerman don't understand why people believe that. We'll keep going, right? So now, let's put it up again. Let's go to this issue. Times of Israel. So since we understand in the Forbes magazine, this 2010 edition of that Forbes, where the top 100 richest people, 30 of Jews, that was in 2010 Forbes. Right? Now let's go over to your favorite buddy, Mark Zuckerberg, or whatever, however you say his name. Now, let's read. Let's look at this. The Golden Boys. 5 Jews make Forbes list of the 10 wealthiest Americans. Let me say it again. 5 Jews, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me look at the camera. I want y'all to see. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Jews make Forbes list of top 10, right, wealthiest Americans. Go back. Are we making this up? Let's keep going. Now, let's keep going. Let me show you something else. Let me go into something else real quick. Now, y'all, those are false sources. Okay. Let's see if this is a false source. Look at your screen, brothers and sisters. Congressional Research Service, U.S. foreign aid to Israel. Updated August 7, 2019. If you look at the top right there, it says certified by Library of Congress. Okay? Library of Congress. Let me zoom in because I want y'all to see that at the top left. Oh, well, that won't zoom in. But at the top, you'll see up here, it says Congress right here, up here. Right? Now, let's go down and read a little bit, right? Let's go down and read a little bit. This report, U.S. foreign aid to Israel. This report provides an overview of U.S. foreign assistance to Israel. It includes a review of past aid programs, data of annual assistance, and analysis of current issues. For general information on Israel, see Israel Background U.S. Relations brief by Jim Zanati. Israel is the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. foreign assistance since World War II, the largest. To date, the United States have provided Israel $142 billion. Let me stop. Let's read that. Let me highlight that so some of y'all can't, whoa, it don't let me highlight. Let me highlight this for y'all because some of y'all can't see, right? Oh, it won't let me highlight. Okay. Now, it'll let me zoom. Let me zoom that in real quick so y'all can see that because some of my people can't see. Make sure y'all put your glasses on. I want y'all to because obviously Matt Skillerman can't see. So put your glasses on and read with me. To date, the United States has provided Israel $142 billion in bilateral assistance and missile defense funding. Almost all U.S. bilateral aid to Israel is in the form of military assistance, although from 1971 to 2007, Israel has also received some significant economic assistance. So them loans when they want to, open jewelry stores over there and then come to America and rape your neighborhood, that's how they do it, thanks to America. Let's keep reading. Put your glasses on. In 2016, the United States and the Israeli government signed a 10-year memorandum of understanding on covering year 2019 to 2028. So they got, listen, 10-year deal from 2019 to 2028. Under the terms of the MOU, the United States pledged to provide $38 billion, $33 billion in foreign military financing grants, plus $5 billion in missile defense appropriations to Israel. Replace a previous $30 billion 10-year agreement which ran through 2018. So at 2018 it stopped. Now they getting more money. So when that other deal was up, now they getting more money. Another 10-year deal of aid to Israel. We just talking crazy. Like, brothers and sisters, for some reason we are conspiracy nuts, and we conspiracy theorists. We just bring, like, brothers just sit around and say, you know what? The Jews run the world. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, it didn't happen that way. Brothers read books, and we say, you know what? 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. So if NBA has so many teams and 50% of the owners are Jewish, Hollywood has in Hollywood, the majority of movie companies or movie producers or whatever you call them are Jewish-owned companies. The first bank started by the Rothschilds and his sons are Jewish-owned banks. And we know those banks bankrupt America. And what they were doing was they was causing all these countries to go to war and making them borrow money from them to fund the war. So they was getting paid on all sides. So in the U.S., they would start a war with someplace overseas. Then overseas, they set up a bank overseas, caused that place to start a war with America. Both of them, the Rothschild families, his sons, they all getting paid. Are we making this up? Brothers and sisters, go and look this stuff up. I don't ever condone brothers and sisters going to Google and researching stuff, but this is so easy to research. You can go to Google and find real sources to show you what the Rothschilds did. How he started them banks and had his sons go out to different areas and start wars and have those countries borrow money from them. Max, you don't understand that one? Now, let's go back to Mad Max, since he don't have no understanding. Let's keep going.
And there is no secret cabal with some plan for world domination. I don't even know what blackmail or extort America means in this context. I don't think you do either, and I don't think anyone does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense.
Remember, we said the Jewish people, the Rothschilds extorted countries to start wars, so they would borrow money from them. Let's keep going.
And it plays on the worst kind of anti-Semitic tropes and stereotypes through the years, especially scapegoating Jews for problems.
See those words, stereotype? See, this is what I said earlier. This is what they do. That when DeSean Jackson bring out this information, it to him, he said, this is what the people that's anti-Semitic eat up. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate Jewish people. I don't discriminate against Jewish people. And I've never been hostile toward a Jewish person. If a Jewish person asks me something to drink, I will give it to him. If a Jewish person is outside that need help I will give him what he needs. Just like a white person, an Arab, an African, anybody. But you can't tell me that I'm anti-Semitic because I teach the truth. Because I'm showing you the lies that have been perpetrated against my people. Now I'm anti-Semitic. See, I can speak against other groups. I can speak against the Nation of Islam. I can speak against the Black Panthers. No issue. But the minute you speak about the Jewish people, you're anti-Semitic. Ain't that kind of weird? See? So anytime you disagree, anytime you say, well, Well, it's not a stereotype if you're into if majority of the banks are owned by Jews, or the majority of the NBA teams are owned by Jews. Is it not the truth? But see, he fall right into that. He's a spokesman. He know what to say. But let me go back. Listen to this again.
One does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense. And it plays on the worst kind of anti-Semitic tropes.
See that? It plays on the anti-Semitic tropes, meaning he thinks that we use that quote from this brother to prove that. We've been proving the Jews ran the world before DeSean Jackson was catching footballs. We've been exposed to Jewish people way before we knew what DeSean Jackson was. Brothers have been exposing Jews. Jews have been exposed by in any group. Pick it up by their own people. Arthur Koestler, before DeSean Jackson was catching footballs, said they were not the Jews. And he said if they were, they was a 13th tribe. And we know it's only 12 tribes in Israel. So I don't get what he think, that we think this one quote we using to automatically, brother, Mad Max, we've been exposing the Jewish people. We don't need that quote to expose the Jewish people. The Bible exposed the Jewish people. Ezekiel 35 going to the Jewish people. Revelation 2:9, 3:9 goes into the Jewish people. Christ going to the Jewish people said that the land would be trodden down at the time of the Gentiles. We don't need DeSean Jackson to do it. We can use the Bible. We can use the biblicals.
And stereotypes through the years, especially scapegoating Jews for problems. So what it appears to me is that DeSean Jackson is susceptible to low-quality information. And in the internet age, it's very dangerous to be that way. For those, especially people who disseminate these messages, are hoping that influencers, like maybe DeSean Jackson, who are susceptible to low quality information, accept this information as true, this disinformation as true, and disseminate it and use their influence to get people to agree with it. So if DeSean Jackson wants to educate people, then DeSean, you should become educated. I dealt with DeSean Jackson, nice guy, I like him. But, and I'd like to accept his apology, not just as a Jewish person, but as a person of social conscience. But I have to know more, DeSean. When you say you're tweeting this not to offend anyone, but to uplift everyone, why does it say they? Why is the quote about white Jews in particular who have a plan for world domination? What is that about? You couldn't uplift African Americans without singling out Jews falsely?
There's no way you can uplift black people if Jewish people have stolen their identity. No, man, that goes apart with it. For me to find myself, somebody got to be exposed as a liar. See, he want us to uplift black people under MLK and under those things. There's nothing wrong with that. Martin Luther was a great man. He did what he could for his people. But he don't want us to say, well, wait a minute, y'all are liars. We are the people. See, y'all can't find no other way to uplift black people? No, because you took our identity.
For having some kind of conspiracy to Jews in particular to keep black people down or uninformed in order that the Jews should dominate the world? I'm glad, DeSean, that you apologized. And I would like to accept it. But, brother, I got to know more. I got to know much more. What you've explained so far doesn't cut it.
Max Kellerman, I called DeSean Jackson.
So, y'all hear what Max says. The apology is not good enough. He got to know more. I don't know what more you need to know. The brother apologized, but once again, like we've been saying, right? What we've been saying, if you do something to them, you pretty much got to give your life up, right? The brother apologized. Max Kellerman said he used misinformed information. I don't think Max understand that you have people out here that do this full time. Put the camera on me. You have people out here, Max, that do this full time. That we don't have to rely on a message from. We know DeSean Jackson, he's a football player. Most of his time go to football, right? But you do have some out here, this is what they do full time. That they vet sources, right? They read and research. So they're not misinformed. We understand where the brother came from, even if he used a bad source. He was using that source to uplift his people. But if you were like, in the future, in a couple weeks, I will bring out a lesson and use only Jewish sources, peer-reviewed sources by PhDs, Cambridge and Oxford, and we will show you that the Jewish people claiming to be Jews are not Jews. We'll do that. We'll be happy to do that. And let me see then any Jewish people saying, oh, they use misinformed information. If that's the case, you call Oxford and Cambridge and tell them they misinformed. Okay? So it is people out here, just like he catch footballs, we catch books. We reread. Just like he read plays, we read books. So just like he running plays out in the football, you got brothers out here that do the exact same thing in the scholarly arena. See that? So don't think that this is where we relying on that information, because we're not. Right? So let's keep going. Now, I want to fast forward this, and I want y'all to hear what Stephen A. has to say. Now, Stephen A. has already sold out. Like he act like he don't know what's going on. He from New York, and he don't understand about the Israelites. But let's keep going, because he did make a interesting comment dealing with this. All right. So now let me try to find this one part that I want to get into with him. All right. So listen to this.
He has never disseminated anything close to anti-Semitic remarks in the past. A matter of fact, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, he should be perceived as more of a victim than a villain. Remember, it's the Philadelphia Eagles that let him go in 2013, or after the 2013 season in 2014. It was the excuse under the Chip Kelly regime, and don't even get me started with that, where they used his supposed affiliation with gang members that ultimately pushed him out the door, and come to find out there was no truth to the assertions that were being made about him. They castigated this man. They villainized him in ways that justified them letting him go, even though he had had like 82 receptions for over 1,300 yards, and there had been nobody in NFL history that had been traded to a team within their own division after achieving such numbers in NFL history up until that point. This is the same Philadelphia Eagles organization that in 2013, you had a guy, or 2014, Riley Cooper, a former wide receiver there who couldn't shine DeSean Jackson's shoes. This guy is at a concert. He's spewing the N-word all over the place, directing it at blacks in attendance, and specifically a black security guard. And not only was he not really suspended, he basically got a day off. And then after that, a few months later, he was given a $25 million contract extension by this same organization. So all of those things are things that we have to take into consideration.
Did y'all hear what Stephen A. said? This same organization, right? Let me switch it back. The same Eagles that's making DeSean Jackson go through hell and hot water is the same organization, right, that gave $25 million to another receiver who was out calling brothers the N-word. Let me show you. Bet y'all didn't know that, did you? Right? So he get called the N-word. Riley Cooper was out calling black people the N-word. He gets suspended one day and get a $25 million contract. And remember, he is nowhere close to on the level of DeSean Jackson, right? But let me let y'all hear for yourself. We have video evidence. Now, unlike DeSean Jackson, this is coming out of this guy's own mouth. This is not a quote. This is not something he read in a book. He was just out spewing the N-word like it was nothing. Let's see.
I will jump that fence and fight every nigger here, bro. Hold on. I will jump that fence and fight every nigger here, bro.
Gave $25 million. This is the same organization that we just read here. They gave a white guy calling black people the N-word $25 million. Hello? Same organization. Look how they doing DeSean Jackson for only quoting a book. This guy, Riley Cooper, listen, was calling people the N-word on video, got a suspension and $25 million. That's assault too. He said he will fight every end in here. Keep in mind, let me say it again, because black people, sometimes we don't understand. This the same guy. This the same organization that's giving it to DeSean Jackson about a quote from a book that he didn't say. Same organization that's on top of him gave $25 million to a white guy calling black people the N-word. Let's move forward. Let's keep going. Now, let's fast forward this. I wanted to bring that stuff out because I wanted to show you, brothers and sisters, dealing with this anti-Semitism or being anti-Semitic, all right? So I wanted to show you, brothers and sisters, dealing with this anti-Semitic thing. Now, let's jump into Nick Cannon. Let's transition into Nick Cannon, okay? Because this is very important, because what you seen with Nick Cannon was when he initially was fired from Viacom, that Wild 'N Out show, he came back strong. He was saying how he was not going to tolerate it. He was not going to be bullied and all those things. But just like Jewish power, like the Jewish mafia, the Jewish mob, what did he end up doing? The brother put a rabbi on his show. So exactly what they say, 'cause this is how the Jewish people work. They like when brothers, especially when they have control over you, to speak out and be bold, because then they're gonna make you, they're gonna emasculate you. Where they got the brother sitting there I mean, I don't know how many tweets this brother sent out apologizing. He got a rabbi on his show. Right? This is what they do, brothers and sisters. They fired the brother. Not only firing is good, he apologizing. Now he has to go to a Jewish museum. See, now he got to be trained and all those things. So they got to reteach him, just like they did in the slavery. So any rebellious Negro had to come in the house and be retaught. Hey, don't listen to them, man. They don't listen to them slaves. You love your master. I love you. So now Nick Cannon has to go be retaught. Nigga, if you want this $25 million, you better get right. And this is what you're seeing. Right? Now, let's go into this. What caused Nick Cannon to receive
let's go to what it really is. Let's go to
the feedback or the pushback he's received from the Jewish people. Let's analyze his comment, right? Let's listen to this.
Let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as guys, and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what Dr. Francis C. Welsing talked about is that fear in that
just genetic annihilation,
that deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less, and where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear, they're acting out of low self-esteem, they're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
Right.
So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric mentality that they're coming out of Europe. They then said, in order for us to survive, we have to take what's not ours. And then they went into the land that actually where we are originated. And instead of trying to make friends, they said, we want what you got. Because there's this mentality of whether it's the Caesars or even that we have to conquer.
Right.
So I say all that to say the context, and when we speak of whether it's Jewish people, white people, Europeans, the Illuminati, they were doing that as survival tactics to stay on this planet.
Right, because
we never had to do that.
Right, because they've learned when they circumnavigated the globe and they ran into these islands and these places, and we were already there to greet them.
Right. With open arms.
Teaching them, but they
were deficient.
They were deficient, so they wanted to get what they.
All right, so y'all see that, right? So this is what got Nick Cannon canned, right? So y'all heard the statement. Nowhere in the statement did I feel anything that was anti-Semitic. I didn't feel. What I saw was the same terminology that they placed on other people is now being placed on them. For example, barbaric. Look, the Europeans are known to use those type of words, meaning any other person that was not European or established or what they would call civilized, they would call barbaric, right? Or savages. Like when Columbus came to America, he called the Indians barbaric and savages. So for some reason now, because I'm looking at this statement that he's making and trying to figure out, well, maybe that's what they thought was anti-Semitic, but it's not discriminating, or is it hostility? What he's saying is true. Did not they come from Caucasus between Georgia, Russia? I mean, that's a true statement. Was not survival in those areas tough? Yes, that's a true statement. The white people themselves call themselves Caucasian from the Caucasus Mountains. Caucasian, Caucasus Mountains. So what he's saying is not far-fetched. It's the truth. So what is it in his statement that caused this uproar? It wasn't the fact that he called them savages or barbaric. It was the fact that he said Jewish people when he quoted. Because and when he quoted that, he was saying that they're not the true people. That melanated people are the true people of God. See, this statement in no way people talk like this on the news. But the fact, once again, that this Nick's platform is so big and everybody is sitting at home with nothing to do, people are paying attention. Any other time, Negroes will be watching basketball. And they wouldn't look at what Nick Cannon and Professor Griff here was saying. They'll be looking at basketball. So they'll miss the whole thing. But since there is more attention being placed on consciousness nowadays, now people are paying attention and doing research. Why? We have time. See, we have time. So that's the issue, brothers and sisters. Nothing in this man's statement was anti-Semitic, was against the Jews, was not showing hostility toward the Jews, was not saying harm any Jews. It didn't say he hated the Jews. This was his personal opinion on how history has unfolded. Meaning, this is his personal opinion about the European. How is this anti-Semitic? White people have their own opinion of black people, right? It's called racial profiling, right? So why is it when we speak on their behalf and say this is how we feel about them, is always deemed racist or anti-Semitic? Someone tell me in this statement where it's anti-Semitic, where he's hostile or claiming to harm Jews. Nowhere. See? So, with that, we must keep moving because we can't find that. So that was the clip pretty much of why Nick Cannon was accused of being anti-Semitic, right? Now, I don't know. Maybe I should have done this. Let me see something here.
So let's go to what it really is then.
Let me go. Let me see something. I don't know if Nick Cannon. Let me go back because I don't want to say, well, you didn't play the full video. So let me go back and play the remaining time of the video, and we'll move forward. Okay.
We're deficient.
They were deficient, so they wanted to get what they thought we had, and we did have it. So the rape took place of the woman. The theft took place of the natural resources.
And then that's when their disease.
Exactly.
That's where their mentality, because I'm trying to get to that place of how they were able to get control over the gods. How were they able to get control over their original
once they
people?
learned that, though, and now they raped and impregnated, left and came back, and they saw the child lighter, they said, wow, that's when they learned genetics. Genetic annihilation. So now you have to set up a system of white supremacy to control that.
Right.
So now we have 13 families here, Illuminati that's manipulating and controlling, subgroups. Now we got to set up organizations.
Coming out of Europe.
You understand what I'm saying? And for that same system, now you're talking about survival, what you just laid out. Now it's fight or flight. Now we have to set up these systems in order to survive.
Right.
But listen, not just survive to get some damn some hamburger buns and some cheese. I'm talking about on a genetic level.
On the genetic, because they will, and that's even from the white nationalists to the white supremacy mentalities to Donald Trump himself wanting to build walls.
Right.
They're trying to keep what they consider purity.
Exactly, on a subconscious
trying to stay
level.
alive.
Because sometimes they don't know why they acting out.
It's just been proven. Was National Geographic just put it out by 2050? Every person will be a person of color
in a minute.
They saying that's as soon as 2050.
So as y'all can see, this is what pretty much I didn't hear nothing else in the remaining time of the video that hinted toward anti-Semitism. So I don't get it. What's the big deal? But what I do understand is that any information that's threatening to your slave-master relationship is something that should be frowned upon according to the Jewish people. So if it's affecting slave-master relationship, then it's something that they don't want to be out. Okay? So now, and we completely understand that. Because everything that he said was never proved to be wrong. Nobody came and said, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Only thing they say was anti-Semitic. So is it true that you raped, robbed, and killed people for lands? Is that true or not? Yes or no? So if it's true, then what is he apologizing for? He just quoting history. See? But once again, if it's not in accordance with what their world domination, what they're trying to do as a people, then you're anti-Semitic. You're not going along with the program. That is the problem. While black people need to establish their own platforms. You look at YouTube. Anytime you say something about homosexuals and Jewish people, you're automatically banned and get caught. We get this. I get this all the time. Soon as I'm sure this video, as soon as we finish, gonna have copyright claims on it. It's not gonna be played in certain areas. Not necessarily because we playing different clips. They don't want the information to be out like this. Right? You have YouTube bots that's programmed to hear certain words. Soon as they hear them words, they listen to the whole video. Right? This is what's going on. See? Now, forget about your freedom of speech. You don't have that when it relates to the Jewish people. Now, remember, YouTube is the same platform that allows rappers to have guns and shoot guns at people, to rap about having sex with women. The same platform that allow women to twerk and all that. This same platform. See? But then say if you speak against homosexuality or Jews, then that's inappropriate content. That's inappropriate. But not the twerking, not the rapping, not the killing, not the gangs, not the selling of drugs that you see on YouTube. But what's inappropriate content is when you speak against Jewish people, when you tell the truth against them, are homosexuals. Now, any group that get online and start speaking hateful content against them, yeah, you should be banned and shot down. But if you speaking in a sense coming from the Bible, your beliefs, you should have that freedom to speak that. Just like the same homosexual have the same freedom to speak against the relationships that we have, heterosexual relationships. They don't get banned. See? So check this out. So now, this is what got Nick Cannon fired from Viacom. Now, I want to show y'all something what happens, right? The brother Nick Cannon, well, I'm going to go after that next. I want to go into this video dealing with certain sections dealing with Nick Cannon and this rabbi that he interviewed, right?
Wiesenthal taught me some
all right. So I want to go into this real quick, brothers and sisters. Hold on real quick. All right, I want to go into this, brothers and sisters, and I want to show you this interview with Nick Cannon and this Rabbi Cooper, okay? So once again, this is what they do, is they trample you underfoot, right? Anytime you don't agree with them, now you got to sit in front of a rabbi. Remember, you can get called the N-word all day and nobody going to sit among black people. They can kill you, the police can kill you in the streets all day long, can steal and rob and rape from you, and can steal your identity, and nobody go and sit among black people. But the minute you say something, because you have a freedom of speech, you have to be retaught and relearned, and you got to go amongst the Jewish people. You got to go to the museum and learn about the Holocaust like you don't have your own. You got to go learn about their Holocaust, but not like you don't have your own, like black people haven't went through anything. But let's continue. So first part, what I want to go into and show you, brothers and sisters, is this. Listen to this Jewish listen to this Jewish man, right? Right? So listen to this.
Sorry for causing pain, hurt to people. But I need to learn how not to do that anymore.
Right.
And that's why I appreciate this discourse. We've already talking, but we're gonna get to it. But my first question for you is, how did we get here?
We got here because the Simon Wiesenthal Center, one of its main focuses, not exclusive, but main, is dealing with anti-Semitism, which unfortunately, even before the pandemic and everything else that's happened since, we were having major violent attacks against New York Jews on the streets of New York and New Jersey, in the last couple of months. So we took the name, or we got the name of a living legend when he was still alive. His name is Simon Wiesenthal, the great Nazi hunter, man who resurrected justice.
That you actually knew personally.
I had the honor to know for almost 3 decades. And someone who came from a group, the survivors of the Nazi Holocaust, 6 million Jews.
So here we go. So now he going into the Holocaust. This is what they always do. They go into the Holocaust. So listen to this.
He lost 89 members of his family. Wow. He was too weak to stand when the American troops at Mauthausen came. He weighed 90 pounds.
Wow.
You know, I don't like talking about victimhood and victimization.
He don't like to talk about victimhood and victimization, but listen.
But if there was ever a group of people who had the moral right to say the world is horrible, they knew what was going on, they did nothing, it was the people who stumbled out of those camps. And amazingly,
let me bring it back. Listen to what he said. So I want y'all to understand what he said. He said those people, the only people that have a right to be a victim, in other words, is those people that stumbled out of those Nazi camps. Let me let y'all play it again. Listen how they think about you, brothers and sisters. So me being a black male, how am I supposed to take if a rabbi come to me and tell me that though I know the suffering of my people, so-called African Americans, the suffering that we suffered in Africa coming over to the Americas, how many people died in the Middle Passage? How many people came and suffered racism here in America? How many that died that was raped on the ships? How many of them caught diseases on the ships? I'm supposed to sit here and allow him to tell me the only people that have the right to be victims is the Jewish people? The interview would have been over right then. And the interview would have been over right then. He slapped Nick Cannon in the face and said, what your people went through was nothing. The only people that can be victims is those people that stumbled out of the Nazi camp. Listen.
American troops at Mauthausen came. He weighed 90 pounds.
Wow.
You know, I don't like talking about victimhood and victimization, but if there was ever a group of people who had the moral right to say the world is horrible, they knew what was going on, they did nothing, it was the people who stumbled out of those camps. And amazingly.
All right, so now that's the first point I wanted to bring out to you, brothers and sisters. So this is the mindset of the Jewish people, right? That if it didn't have anything to do with them, they don't care, right? So they want you to focus on 6 million people. How about this? How about 40 million people? Do those lives matter, or are they 3/5 human? Maybe if we count that, maybe it comes down around that time, around 12 million, 6 million Jews, right? So what is the life of 60 million Jews, 60 million black people? Because we have numbers in between 40 million and 100 million died between those the early 1500s all the way down to 1800s, the 1400s. You had white people going into colonizing Africa way before slavery, killing a mass of people to go into Africa to colonize the area. We're not even counting those people. So he want Nick Cannon to focus on 6 million when he can easily show you 40 million just died on the way to America. Brothers and sisters, this should upset you, brothers and sisters. How can we receive equality if no one if no one is willing to sit down and look at the Holocaust of the black people, the Hispanic people? Now, it's a saying where people say we ain't trying to see who got the biggest penis the contest. If we are to do that, they will lose regardless. Because you cannot show me that 40 million people, and I'm being modest, 40 million who died on the way over here is not nothing to be concerned with. That they're the only people that can have the right to be victims and to speak about the world as being evil. 6 million people. Now, we're not downplaying nothing. If 6 million Jews died, they have every right to feel that they received injustice. Right? Remember, that's in Germany. We're talking about here in America. This is what we're dealing with here in America. Right? So why is it that something that happened in Germany, why is it museums here in America? I'll wait. Is there museums about African slavery in Germany? Probably one or two. But why is it that they make sure they spend all this money for museums, for Holocaust museums in America, in somewhere that happened in Germany? But we're not to think that it's not world domination. Why is it it's Holocaust museums in the United States if that happened in Germany? Why is it being funded by the U.S. government if that happened in Germany? Somebody answer that for me, please. Somebody answer that for me, please. Right? So Nick Cannon is sitting in front of this rabbi who's basically telling him the Holocaust that happened to your people is nothing. We are to focus on 6 million Jews. I have trouble with that because me being a black man, a so-called African American, which we are Israelites, they killed millions of Israelites on the way to America. Me being an Israelite, that's what I'm concerned with. I'm not condoning what Hitler did to Jewish people, but you cannot come into my place and tell me not to be concerned with my people. See? So that's what he pretty much told Nick. So let's go into another part of it, right? Listen to this, brothers and sisters. Let's go into another part of what we dealing with here. Right? So now I'm going to the 10-minute mark, right? So this guy has already insulted and downgraded the Holocaust that happened to black people, saying the Jewish people are the only people on the planet that can be victims and that should be complaining, right? So listen to this.
So then how is it that I sent out, because I wrote that tweet.
I know you did.
It was me. Okay, I'm pretty quick. By the way, I don't have my own Twitter account or any, but when I saw it, I watched the piece, and when I heard from someone, and with my apologies, because I didn't know you, but my daughter in Jerusalem called me this morning.
Right.
And my nephew from New Jersey called me on the way over. The world knows you.
Right.
Okay.
Tell him I said what's up.
When I watched the piece, and there was somebody there who was saying, "I'm not even a real Jew."
Right.
That goes right to the heart. And I also knew that these themes, Rothschild, all the conspiracies and stuff,
right,
it's pure Farrakhan. And there were 2 generations. Griff, who turns out I had something to do with a generation ago.
Yeah, we're going to get into that as well.
And a younger, better-looking guy just parroting the old Farrakhan lines. Now, and I understand exactly that for many people in the black community.
So you heard it right from him. So he's saying pretty much he going to Nick Cannon, he's saying that it was a stab in the heart to say he's not a Jew. You are not a Jew. You are not a Jew. You know what stabs in the heart? You want to know what stabs us in the heart? When the Bible says, in that place where they say they are not a people, they are the children of the Most High God. Who's saying we're not the Jews? The fake Jews, the imposter Jews, who have taken claim to our identity. Those are the ones. So when he says it's a stake in the heart, imagine how you feel. Imagine how those black and Hispanics who lost their identity feel when you say you the Jew. Every time they say they're the Jews, it's a stab in the heart. Just like how he feel when they say he's not one. When you say you're one, that's exactly how we feel, Mr. Rabbi. The Most High said it perfectly. I will make you jealous over people that's not a people. Why did he say that? When they sit around on their behinds and say they Jewish people, they the Jews, how do you think the real Jews feel? Right? This brother is staking, see, and that's what I'm saying. You can't even disagree with him. It was anti-Semitic because Nick said he was not a Jew. See, you can't even, that's in his own opinion. It's not hostility or discriminating against the Jews. He can't have his own opinion. But meanwhile, in the Talmud, you can be from the cursed seed of Ham, cursed to be a black man. That's how he see Nick Cannon. He don't see Nick Cannon as a Jew. He see Nick Cannon as the cursed seed of Ham, and he's black because of what Ham did. That's how this rabbi see him, because he quoted the Talmud a couple times during this interview. And you can't tell me, oh, they believe some parts of the Talmud. No, they like we showed in that video, they believe all the pages of the Talmud. See? Right. So now, and we understand that whoever this brother is, yeah, that even amongst those killed in those concentration camps, black people were there too. You rarely hear about the black people that was involved in those killings too in the Holocaust. You never hear about it because they named them as others. See, they say, 6 million Jews died and others died too. Brothers and sisters, it's a plot, brothers and sisters. This is what it is. It's designed for this reason, so the Jewish people can now come on, like we see, they can now come along anytime they need some, go under the buzzword of anti-Semitism and get it. Oh, Holocaust, anti-Semitism, but black people are just supposed to get over it. Oh, that happened way a long time ago. You got to get over it. See? We can't, this big penis contest between the Jews and the Jewish people and black people, it's no contest. We have received more oppression over in America than any Jew on the planet Earth, including the Holocaust. We have suffered more loss here in America to this day than any Jew in the world. He's talking about some isolated events that happened to the Jewish people. Oh, Jewish people are being killed. And once again, we're not condoning it. But if me being a black man, I have to look through the lenses of a black person. As an African-American person, so-called, in my community, and I'm looking at, we can trade. I would trade. If I could trade that my people only get killed every couple years, they go into a synagogue every couple years and kill some Jewish people, let's trade. They killing my people every day. My people are being killed every day in the streets. And we've even had the police kill a couple brothers in the same week. Do you want to trade? We can trade off. So if you think you being oppressed because Jewish people are killing, or somebody slap a Jewish person every couple months or every couple years is something, let's trade. Let's trade. So we do have to go into this penis contest, for lack of a better term, because what he's trying to do is lay upon his what happened to the Jewish people and try to find sympathy with Nick Cannon, when Nick Cannon can pull out and say, hey, you talking about 6 million, Rabbi, what about 40 million? What you feel about the transatlantic slave trade that the Jewish people had a hand into? And what they'll bring out, well, it was Jewish people that helped in the civil rights. They should help. The reason we needed civil rights because the Jewish people helped fund the slave trade. It would be no slave trade or no civil rights if the Jewish people weren't supporting, weren't providing the ships. You can't put me enslaved and try to come help me and think I should forgive you. No, it don't work like that. Right? So now, and like some of the brothers say in the comments, of course, we know Nick Cannon is not learned, right? He's learning, he know who he is, but at the same time, Nick Cannon, that's how he make his money. He's under the umbrella of his masters, right? And as soon as you step from under that umbrella, what happens to you? You start to get rained on. And now you realize that, well, damn, I never established anything for myself. I've always depended on the master. And he's seeing that now. That's the difference. That's the danger of being under them. When they get done with you, then we have nothing to bounce back on. That's why black people, Hispanic people need to do for self. Do for your own self, right? And I can never forget to mention about the American Holocaust was over 100 million Native brothers. Why nobody talking about that? Native American Indian brothers who were killed by, guess who? The Jewish people and Europeans. 100 million. So you got to be crazy if you think I'm gonna be focused on 6 million people when 100 million people haven't received justice. You got to be out your mind. Here we got 100 million just the native brothers, in between 40 and 100 million so-called African Americans, and I'm supposed to be concerned with 6 million Jews? And you gonna sit in my office and within this man's show and tell him the only people that have a right to be victims is Jewish people? Nick Cannon got some good patience. Now let's keep moving. There's some more on this. Now, let's keep going to about 1240.
When they hear Farrakhan, they think of Million Man March. They think about black empowerment.
Leadership.
They think about leadership. They think about one of the greatest orators in America, which is true.
Very true.
What we think about Farrakhan is a person who has invested a lot of his energies in the hatred of the Jewish people, who's insulted us, said Hitler's a great man, I practice a gutter religion, in some ways really inexplicable. And these are themes that, as I mentioned, he's one of the most honest people in America because he's never changed. These are themes that he brought to Los Angeles in 1984, and which were repeated very often in his Savior Day speeches, across the country. And now with social media platforms reaching more and more of the younger generations.
And speaking of the young generation, as someone who's
all right, so now you notice that too. What he was doing was blaming Farrakhan. So that's another thing they try to do. Of course, I don't condone Farrakhan. I'm not saying anything. We know Farrakhan is a powerful speaker, right? And he probably has said some things that was iffy about the Jewish people. But what we will not do and cannot do is forget about what the Jewish people have said about black people. See, they're very good at pointing the finger and saying, see, this is what he's doing to us. What have you done to me? Right? But if we are to ever get on this equal playing field, we must sit down on the table and use honesty and say, well, yes, we do feel like y'all are cursed because with black skin. See, they so quick to say what Farrakhan is saying, but then they leave out their racism in their very books. They quick, and that's what they do. That's what the Jewish people do. They'll blame other people and just they like children. They'll take the focus on us. Look what they're doing to us. Look, they're attacking us. Look, the Farrakhan, he don't like us. Because he have an opinion against you. Right? Did Nick Cannon say they practice a gutter religion? Did Nick Cannon say or DeSean Jackson say that Hitler was a great man? No. So why are they being treated like that? So they call Farrakhan anti-Semitic, and they also call Nick Cannon, DeSean Jackson anti-Semitic. But they didn't use none of the terminology that Farrakhan used. Why is it? Why is it? Because anytime you speak or have an opinion against the Jewish people that's not in agreement with them, you're anti-Semitic. All right, so now let's keep moving. Speed this thing up a little bit, brothers. Make sure y'all like, subscribe to the channel. All right, so let's go to 3545, right? Let's go to 3545. So what we have gathered so far from the good rabbi is that he don't give a damn about black suffering. The only people that have a right to suffer or be victims is the Jewish people. That anytime you disagree with the Jewish people, you're anti-Semitic, right? And that they called Nick Cannon and DeSean Jackson the same thing they called Farrakhan, anti-Semitic. Let's keep going.
Share of the meal.
Hold on, we got an ad. Let me let this ad play. Then we're gonna keep it moving. So while this ad is playing, make sure y'all like, subscribe to the channel. Right? If you're on Facebook, come over to Breakin Babylon with Elder Asiy'el on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Support the channel. Right? Also, if you see our banners at the bottom, if you can support financially to the work, support financially. If not, support by liking the video, sharing the video, let people know we're live every Wednesday. Also on Saturday at 3 p.m. We have our Sabbath class. We also will be live on Fridays at 7:30. Our good brother and officer from San Antonio, Our San Antonio branch will be live every Friday at 7:30. So if you can't support financially, support by sharing the video, spreading the ministry, doing your part, okay? All right, so now let's go back to this video here. Let's see here. Let's go into this video. Let's play this part of the video.
Agree with you, but it just goes to a place, honestly, and only wanted to highlight that aspect because, like you said, with strength, with it's that psychological concept with love and fear. Fear comes reverence, and in that reverence, that's how you gain respect for your community, and then that's even where we got into a lot of that conversation with Griff and I was actually having about the idea of ownership and utilizing your strength and utilizing your position to get as much as you wish for, and that to me is a supremacy quality, or not quality, supremacy method, and that to me, when I heard you say we hate evil, and this was never supposed to be a conversation about comparing oppression, because we know as we sit across from each other, we both come from communities that have been oppressed and just slaughtered. And if there's a commonality that we could say, so there's no need to, that's given.
And there are plenty of places we can walk into the United States where people will smile at you.
Right.
But may not exactly think, oh, wow.
They're not even thinking about that.
We get two for the price of one.
Our common.
He said, you'll go into a place where people look at you and not even think. He's talking about himself. Why? Because he has the white skin. He looks like a European. No one would think he's ever went through anything. On the other hand, Nick Cannon, they see it's all in you. That skin. That's what he's saying. The issue now is that Nick Cannon is trying to equate our suffering with Jewish people. It's no way you can compare the two. You cannot compare the suffering of black people with Jewish people. It's nowhere close. Nowhere close. Let's see. How many NBA teams do black people own? One, Michael Jordan. How many teams do Jewish people own? I'll wait. Is that the same in suffering? Is it? Our people get killed by the police on average way more. We make up 16% of the population, but we account for more crimes against black people than any other group that's here. Though we are the minorities, we make up between 13-16%. We'll account for more of the violence not violence going out, but being mistreated. You can't compare that. You cannot compare someone else's suffering with black people. That's an insult. For you to say that, oh, y'all understand y'all been. No, he don't. He don't. They went through the Holocaust. They came over to America, got billions of dollars when they went to Israel. How much reparation money did black people get? How in the hell can Nick Cannon sit there and say we on the same playing field? They receive money from the Jewish people from America annually. They just signed another 10 years. How can he relate? He cannot relate to us, Nick Cannon. He can't. Our oppression is not the same as theirs. I would trade them any day. For us to be oppressed, how the Jewish people are, I would take that any day, and they can take on how they can take our place. Come on, let's trade. Every couple years, something happened to the Jewish people. Because remember, when something happened to the Jewish people, it's blasted everywhere. Every couple years, something happened to a synagogue, somebody come in, which we don't condone, but we're just showing you, you cannot compare your suffering with us. Because I can close my eyes and wake up in the morning and show you something they doing against black people. You can't do that with the Jewish people. I don't have to try. I can look at my phone in the morning and see a brother being killed by the police unjustly. He was running from the police and got shot in the back. You can't show me that, Mr. Jewish man. So it's not equal. So if you want to trade, Jewish man, for every couple years being oppressed, we'll trade. and they'll be screaming to come back to their place. If they have to go through the hell that black and Hispanic people have to go through in America, they'll love their place where they are. We go through this thing daily, right? And for Nick Cannon to insult us insult us like that and put our suffering with Jewish people is very irresponsible on Nick Cannon's part.
Right, indeed. Our commonality is that we are people of oppression. So that's why instead of, I don't know where the energy came from to divide us, but we should be allies because of our common oppression. So to say all of that,
we done. I can't listen to this no more. Y'all can go listen to this on your own. Even though I was listening to this boy, it's sickening to hear him saying we have commonalities. Right? It's sickening to hear him say that. Right, but we know why he's doing it. He's trying to get him back in good faith. He's trying to get his money. But at the same time, you don't sell out your people. You don't downgrade your people's suffering for another person's. He cannot relate to you, Nick. He haven't went through what you went through. Right?
Much as you wish for, and that to me is so that's why instead of
at
you,
right,
but may not exactly think, oh wow,
they're not even thinking about that.
We get two for the price of one.
Our commonality, right, indeed. Our commonality is that we are people of oppression. So that's why instead of, I don't know where the energy came from to divide us, but we should be allies because of our common oppression. So
right. So the spirit that came to divide us the day when they claim to be Jews and are not, that's what divided us. You can't be an ally with a person who's lying to you. How can you ally? The Bible says, "How can two walk together lest they be agreed?" So Nick saying, "Well, I don't know what spirit came to divide us the day they started saying they was Jews and are not." Christ said it perfect. I know thy works, thy tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, that he will make them bow down and worship at our feet. So when Nick Cannon said he don't know what spirit that was that divided us, when they blasphemed and said they was Jews, that's where the division came in. So how can you ally with a blasphemer? How can you ally with a person who stole your identity? How can you? I'm done with this, brothers and sisters. We got to keep moving. It's sad that we have to go through this. I have more points that I want to bring up, but we're going to keep moving because this is sad that we have to, and this is what we have, and just not Nick Cannon, but even our brother DeSean Jackson, that when you piss off the powers that be, when you piss them off, you pretty much have to tuck your manhood away and bow down to the master. Right? So now, I wanted to bring out this other point. We almost finished here. Now, I wanted to bring out this other point. And I'm only going to read certain points of this. This is Nick Cannon's right after he was fired. And I wanted to show you, brothers and sisters, how bold this brother was, how strong he was, how much strength the brother was walking in. Black people were supporting him, but then it fell off. Something happened. And we're like, what happened? I mean, Nick was saying he wasn't going to be bullied and all that. Then now you see him in this interview with the rabbi. Where is that brother? What happened to the brother that said I wasn't going to bow down? Right? So now, let's go into this. Exactly. So you can't ally with a person pretending to be you. My point exactly. My sentiment exactly. How can you ally with somebody who is lying, pretending to be you? It makes no sense. That's like telling somebody, go be friends with the person that stole that stole your identity. That's been convicted for identity theft. Go be their friends. Go ally with them. Why? So they can steal more things of yours? Come on, man. The Bible said it clear in Obadiah. It says it perfectly. Some people, and I'm paraphrasing, some people would steal till they had enough. Esau, who the Jewish people really are, the Edom, the tabernacles of Edom, they'll come and steal everything. And they don't even need it. And remember, and when they over there claiming to be Jews, majority of them don't even believe in Torah. They don't believe in Christ. They don't believe in the Bible. They're only Jews for political reasons. Read this book, The Invention of the Jewish People. These people are only Jews for political reason, for political gain. Most of them don't believe in God. This guy was a Jew. Shlomo son. He was a Jew. He didn't believe in God. And he brought out this book, The Invention of the Jewish People. Why? Because she's proven they're only Jews for political reasons. They're not the real people. See? Now, let's go into this, brothers, sisters, real quick. Now, this is on Nick Cannon's Facebook page, right? Now, this is what the brother said right after being fired from Viacom, right? He said this: I am deeply saddened in a moment so close to reconciliation that the powers that be misused an opportunity, an important moment for us to all grow closer together and learn more about one another. Instead, the moment was stolen and hijacked to make an example of an outspoken black man. That's exactly what it is. They don't want you niggers speaking on your platforms. They don't want you inciting the people. That's what they said back in slavery. Don't you go riling up my niggas. You're right. Don't you go riling up my niggers. See? Now it says, I would not be bullied, silenced, or continuously oppressed by any organization, group, or corporation. I am disappointed that Viacom does not understand or respect the power of the black community. Okay, we getting somewhere. Okay, we behind you, Nick. We love you, Nick. I get you. Nick is not going to be bullied. He's not going to be, oppressed, right, by any group. Now watch this. We got this statement, right? Now watch this. Soon after, look at your screen. They reinforced the worst stereotypes of a proud and magnificent people, and I felt ashamed of the uniformed and naive place that these words came from. The video of this interview has since been removed. Wait a minute. I wonder who told him to remove the interview. Wait, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to assure my Jewish friends, new and old, that this is the only beginning of my education. I am committed to deeper connection, more profound learning, and strengthening the bond between our two cultures today and every day going forward. Well, maybe Nick just wait, let's see. On my podcast, I use words and reference literature I assume to be factual to uplift my community. Instead, it turned out to be hateful propaganda and stereotypical rhetoric that pained another community. For this, I am deeply sorry, but now together we can write a new chapter of healing. What happened? This the same guy said he would not be bullied. He would not be oppressed by any group. What happened? Maybe the powers that be? I don't know. What happened? Right? So now, let's keep going. This is why the black community was upset with Nick Cannon, which I understand. Anyone knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart nor malice intentions, which I believe that. I do believe that the brother didn't mean no racist, harmful thing, but remember who you're dealing with. You're dealing with the mighty Jews. Anything that's not in accordance with with them is deemed anti-Semitic. So therefore, even though in your heart you know you didn't mean anything through malice or hateful intention, if you consider yourself a Jew and them not, it's automatically hate speech. It's no more freedom of religion, freedom of speech. Is hate rhetoric. Just because you disagree. If you tell a Jew, I don't like apple soda, and he like apple soda, you anti-Semitic for some reason because you don't like apple juice. That's how childish it's becoming. We are living in a time. Well, I do not condone hate speech nor spread of hateful rhetoric. We are living in a time when it is more important than ever to promote unity and understanding. The Black and Jewish communities have faced enormous hatred, oppression, persecution, prejudice for thousands of years, and in many ways have and will continue to work together to overcome these obstacles. Now, what he's saying is true, but only one side. The Jewish people, on the other hand, in which it does not make it right, but they're going through the suffering they're going through because of what their handlers do. What the Jewish people have done to people in the earth. That's what they're doing. That's why people have an issue. Now, let me ask you this. Let me show you this, brothers and sisters. Why is it that Klan members feel a certain way about Jewish people? Black people, these groups don't even like each other. But they both agree that the Jewish people, they both agree that something is going on or against the Jewish people. You got the Klan on one side, and you got black people on one side, and they both agree that the Jewish people are not right. How is that? Both of these groups don't agree with nothing else, but they both agree that something is. They both have a disliking of the behavior of the Jewish people. Back to the article, or back to his statement, when you look at the media and other sectors of our nation's history, African Americans and the people of the Jewish community have partnered to create some of the best, most revolutionary work we know today. I am an advocate for people's voice to be heard openly, fairly, and candidly, but that's the issue. Nobody else can do it. As long as you're not talking about the Jewish people, that applies. You can talk about anything you want to. The minute you say a Jew is not a Jew, because that's on your own opinion, that's fair. Because if he want to prove himself to be a Jew, he can come on that same platform and prove it. But this does not apply being open, fairly, and candidly. That does not apply when you speak against the Jewish people. In today's conversation about anti-racism and social justice, I think we all, including myself, must continue educating one another and embrace uncomfortable conversations, which I agree. It's the only way we all get better. We will all get better. I encourage more healthy dialogue and welcome any experts, clergy, spokespersons to any of my platforms to hold me accountable and correct me in any statement that I've made that has been projected as negative. That's the issue. Nothing he said was wrong. Now you want somebody to come on your platform to indoctrinate you, to make you a good old boy again. If you can't stand on what you believe in, you won't stand on anything, brothers and sisters. That's why it's important to die and to believe in what you believe in. You need to go down with every dying breath believing and chanting what you believe in. If not, you will always be in this position where you will come and teach me, come and show me. No, can't nobody show you anything. You and your God is the only thing that you need. You and the Most High God. If you know this pleasing to your God, no man can tell you otherwise. See? And I'm not saying no one can come and correct you. I'm not saying that. But if you know you're not doing anything out of malice, intent, you was only doing something to uplift your people, what group can come in and tell you not to uplift your people? Or what better way to uplift your own people? Can't nobody come in and tell me how to you should uplift your people this way. Have not we tried that? See? Nick, you shouldn't let nobody come in your space and tell you how to uplift your people. Right? So now, that's it on that. That's enough on that. So, brothers and sisters, this is what we're dealing with. Now, I'm going to end it. I had more stuff I wanted to tackle tonight, but I'm not going to tackle it. We're already in 2 hours. Now, and so I say, I didn't have no scriptures today, and I'm still 2 hours. But anyway, let's go into this. Check this out. I want to quickly break down what this anti-Semitism thing is here, okay? I want to cover it because what it seems is people have a misunderstanding of what anti-Semitism is, right? What has happened is the Jewish people have taken claim to a word and taken it for themselves and has excluded everyone else that falls under the progeny or the seed of Shem, the descendants of Shem, or the progeny of Shem. So they have excluded everybody else that's from the seed line of Shem and taken that word only exclusively for themselves. So anytime you have a disagreement with them, they'll say, oh, you're anti-Semitic. Okay? So now, what I'm going to do here, brothers and sisters, is let's take the time real quick and look at this so we can understand what they're saying when they say anti-Semitic. Now, we showed a definition earlier, right? And I want to go back to that definition real quick so we can prove. I want to show you something here. Right? And what I'm saying here, I'm sure will be deemed anti-Semitic. Even though I don't want to hurt any Jewish person. I don't want to hurt any group. I don't have any envy, hatred toward any group. But I will tell you to your face, you are not the Jew. And if I'm anti-Semitic because I say you're not the Jew, then Christ is anti-Semitic. And he was a Jew. Ain't that ironic? A Jew, which is me, telling you're not a Jew, but I'm anti-Semitic. So was Jesus Christ. Because Christ said it perfectly. Them that say they are Jews that are not are the synagogue of Satan. So Christ himself was an anti-Semitic, even though he came from the seed line of Shem. So I live with that. All right, so now let's go into anti-Semitic. We read this earlier. All right, so now this is according to the Jewish people. Anti-Semitic, relating to or characterized by anti-Semitism. Oh, this is a different definition, but pretty much the same words. Feeling or showing hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, ethnic group. Right? So now, the key point is to look at this right here. Against Jews. Keep this in mind, brothers and sisters. Against Jews. Now, let's go and learn what Shem. Let's learn about Shem, because this word where they saying since Shem or Semitic, it roots from the word Shem, which means name in the Hebrew. Right? So they're saying you're anti-Shem. Okay? So now let's go into this. I'm going to put on your screen, brothers and sisters, the genealogy of the seed line of Shem. Right? So when you go into the Bible, of course, the Bible breaks down the nations, right? After the flood, you have Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? Shem became the father of the Israelites, the Jews, the real Jews, the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian man that's on the face of the earth. He's also the father of Esau, the fake Jews, who claim to be Jews and are not. They are Shemitic as also. They're Shemitic or Semitic also. So now, when you go into Shem, you see here on this list, Shem had a fork side. Shalai, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Sereg, Nahor, Terah. Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob had the Israelites. Now, what we want to keep in mind here is this. when the Jewish man says that you're anti-Semitic, why don't he include all these sons here? Why is it now a thing? What we just read the definition. Why is it a thing where it's only against Jews when we see here, right? Listen, follow me. When we see here that it's a thing dealing with multiple sons of Shem. Because they're saying you're anti-Shemitic or anti-Semitic. So why is this thing only relating to Jews? This is the genealogy of Shem. Maybe because just like they did in the Holocaust, they did not count those others because they don't count other people as what? Human, according to what they believe in the Talmud. So maybe that's why they say you can only be anti-Semitic because you only Shem or Israelites or Jews are humans and everybody else are non-human. Like they believe, like they say in the Jewish Encyclopedia for the Gentiles. Everybody else is non-human. But this is the seed line of Shem. Once again, Shem had a fork side. You have Elam, the East Indians right here. You have the Arabs come from, you see Ishmael down there at the bottom from Abraham. Ishmael and the Ishmaelites. You see Isaac had Esau and Jacob. Esau became the what we call the so-called white man. The so-called Jewish people today. They are really the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, which they are Shemitic. They from Shem. But they're not the Jews. It's a difference. They from the seed line of Shem, but they're not the Israelites. See, let me show you. Isaac had two sons, Esau and Jacob. Jacob became the father of the Israelites. Esau became the father of the Edomites, or Esau, right? Or Idumea, during the time of Herod, when they started calling themselves Idumeans, right? So they are from the seed of Shem. See? So why is it that the Jewish people say when you're anti-Semitic is only for the Jewish people when Shem had all these other sons? Come on. See? So the Jewish people really, their father is Esau. That's who claiming, this is who that rabbi is. He's an Edomite. He's a European. If you subscribe to the channels, we're going to come out with a lesson dealing with the Jewish people. We're going to trace them right in Eastern Europe when they started calling themselves Jews. We're going to show you the establishment of Zionism under Theodor Herzl, right? And why Zionism was a very important key to them establish themselves in Israel. We're going to show you all that it wasn't from the Most High. And you know what's funny? That they always say, oh, that's Farrakhan's conspiracy thing about the Rothschilds. Remember he said that a while ago? I'm going to show you how the Rothschilds had every bit of them, had a bunch of influence of them getting the land of Israel. But they like to say the Rothschilds are a conspiracy nut if you're talking about the Rothschilds. But I'm going to show you a letter from the Rothschilds dealing with them getting the land of Israel. How about that one? Yes, a letter from the Rothschilds. That same guy that the rabbi said was a conspiracy from Farrakhan and all that, how they say his name. I'm going to show you a letter from the Rothschilds who have established the Jewish people in the land of Israel. So we understand that. So you see, brothers and sisters, that Shem had all these other sons. So you can't be anti-Semitic. We cannot be anti-Semitic. We come from Shem. Nick Cannon and DeSean Watson cannot be, it's impossible because they'd be against themselves. They can't be anti-Semitic. They not wishing harm on themselves. They not wishing discrimination on themselves. Because according to their definition, anti-Semitism is discrimination and hostility toward Jews. So if we are Shem, we're not wishing hostility and discrimination against ourselves. Come on, man. You see how that's easily debunked? Now, let's go one step further and we're going to end this off, brothers and sisters. One step further, right? Watch this. Now, what the Jewish people don't want, because what we do is over here we use sources, we use their own sources, right? We let the right how people say ride out the horse's mouth. We let the horse speak, right? We don't say nothing on our
often when there is dissent.
We don't use anything that can be deemed unreliable. We let their own scholars speak. This is what we're going to do now. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. Listen to this.
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money.
So to make sure we dealing with good sources, let's go back up. This lady, Shalomonit Aloni, former Israeli minister. Now this source we using, Democracy Now. Everybody go and type in Democracy Now and see if it's a real show. Y'all should be familiar with the host. This is a real show with a real woman that's from Israel that says anti-Semitism is a trick that they use. She said it's a trick. She said anytime people go against the Jews, they jump onto this anti-Semitism thing and bring up the Holocaust. Let me bring it back so y'all can hear it. So, listen.
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money. And the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics, and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people, and that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
See that? So she said that's a lot to unpack. She talked about, remember Max Kellerman had like he don't know where it's coming from. A Jewish Israeli minister says they have the power, they have the money, they use anti-Semitism as a trick, right? Anytime anybody go against them, they bring up the Holocaust. And she said they do that to justify their treatment of the Palestinians. I didn't say this. A Jewish woman said this. They use anti-Semitism as a trick. They bring up the Holocaust. They have the money. They have a good relationship with the United States. Pretty much, remember that quote from that book that brother DeSean Jackson put out? That's your answer, Mr. Max Kellerman. She just said the Jews run the world. A Jewish woman. What are you going to say about that one? Right? With that, brothers and sisters, I appreciate y'all listening tonight. Appreciate it. I didn't get to cover everything, but that's all right. We got to the point that we needed to get to tonight. Don't be tricked, brothers and sisters. Stay on the path. Stay on the path of righteousness. Don't be afraid to uphold who you are. We are the Jews, and look, can't nobody show me nothing different. Right? The gig is up. Like we were saying, the gig is up. They can no longer hold on to it, so they doing anything they can to hold on to it. And this is what they do. and like I said, I was saying when I was writing up this topic, is what they do is, and this anti-Semitism thing is like a season. It comes and goes. Anytime a great awakening comes up, they always throw out anti-Semitism. It always pops up. And remember, we were in the middle of a pandemic, COVID-19. These two brothers made a quote about being Jews, and all of a sudden, what happened to COVID-19? It don't exist anymore. This is the headlines. And think about it, brother. When we were claiming to be drug dealers, when we rap about being drug dealers, pimps, and all of these things, rappers and all that, that was fine. But the minute we said we was Jews, it became a problem. That should tell you, brothers and sisters, something, that it must be the truth. Who fights something so hard if it's not true? If I'm saying something that's not true, you just laugh at it and keep going. But who fights this much for something that's not true? Unless they fearful that we're gonna find something out by keep researching. If we can bring it to the forefront and they can throw a wrench into it and try to stop it, that's what they want to do. Right? That's what they want to do. But the very fact that we finding out black people and Hispanic people are waking up to the truth, they want to try to throw a wrench in there. They want to make examples of DeSean Jackson and Nick Cannon. So any other celebrity that want to use this platform, they'll be afraid to use it. They'll say, man, I see what happened to them. I see what happened to these brothers. I can't afford that to happen, because why? The master have made them so dependent upon them that they're afraid of stepping out of that because they'll lose what they have. That's the issue. All right. So with that, brothers and sisters, appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. Right. I hope you learned and you were edified with this topic. Like, subscribe to the channels, support us on Facebook, support us on YouTube, subscribe to our channels. Make sure you on our Sabbath classes too on Saturdays, on Fridays, Friday night at 7:30, Saturday at 3 p.m. So subscribe to our channels, Israelite Temple of the Living God, right? So you can get more of this, because we're going to go into a more detailed lesson dealing with the Jewish people, where they come from, where they was expelled from, when they started claiming to be Jews, right? We're going to give you the history. Saturday, we're going into what color was Christ. So we'll hit a little bit of that history Saturday. And we're not going to go into petty topics and, Christ is black. So that we're going to show you the proof. The Bible says prove all things, and this is what we're going to do. All right? So with that, brothers and sisters, I would like to I appreciate you tuning in with us tonight, right? Tune in with us Saturday at 3 p.m., Friday at 7:30 p.m. With that, say shalom.